Hey guys, Brad from Roto Heat here to help you with your Week 1 lineup questions. We posted questions into our YouTube and Facebook communities and anywhere that we talk, and you answered, and we appreciate that. The questions came in like gangbusters, and we're going to do this weekly. So every week, get us your start-sit questions, your lineup advice questions, and we, as a team, will talk about it, come up with our responses, and get them back out here to you. And as always, if you like the video, like the video. If you enjoyed everything that you've been seeing, hit the subscribe, hit the notification icon, stay up to date. We do some live streams. I'm not sure if you've seen them or not. We do lots of player outlooks. Over 13,000, 14,000 saw the Gibson one. So thank you guys for everybody that's been liking and commenting and hanging out. And don't forget, find us on rotoheat.com. rotoheat.com/Patreon if you want to make it rain a little bit. We appreciate that as well because it helps keep us doing what we're doing, which is providing you with great fantasy content for 2020 and beyond.
Everything's on fire. Everything's on fire. Everything's on fire.
All right, now to the meat. Now to the juicy inside piece of this conversation. We're answering your questions. We got some from Facebook. We got some from YouTube. We're going to hit them. What we did, so just full disclosure behind the curtain for you. You posted your questions. I put them all together, shook them up in the Magic 8 Ball, delivered them to the guys on the team, and we all talked about them. We voted on the ones we could vote on. We voted on. We did also have some that posted their team and asked us who would you start. So we're going to answer those questions. Let's do it. All right, so Hector on Facebook. Start a banged up Devante Parker against the Pats or Jonathan Taylor, which is an interesting conundrum. So are you willing to start a rookie running back, sight unseen, no preseason, hoping that he gets some playing time, or the potential, 1A, depending on how you feel about Preston Williams, option in a Miami passing offense against a depleted Patriots defense? Lost quite a few pieces to sitting out this year. So that's a good question. Team voted Parker. Preston Williams was the top guy until he got hurt. Then Devante Parker did a great job. So we're going Parker here. Andrew on Facebook had a few questions. Deebo or Ruggs? We picked Ruggs obviously because Deebo's, if he plays, he's going to be limited because coming back from that injury. So we'll go Ruggs. Take the shot. You have to assume Gruden's going to want to prove that he was right in taking Ruggs when he did, so he's going to do some deep shots to him. He's going to do some. He's going to feed him at least early on. He also asked Edwards or Ruggs. We're still going Ruggs, although Edwards is a super intriguing piece because he was a guy that was in the conversation for going much higher before he had the foot injury, dropped him to the third round. Then his last question was: is Amari Cooper a must start? No. Especially week 1, he's going to be going against Jalen Ramsey. Probably, if Ramsey isn't blanketing the entire game, which he could be, he's going to face him most of the game. And Jalen Ramsey, I don't know if you've ever seen him play. He's a shutdown corner. I mean, this guy locks down the number 1 receiver pretty, I don't want to say pretty easily, but he does it well. And when we have that matchup, that's a matchup we're steering clear of until we see otherwise. Eventually at some point, top corners slip, slide, fall down, and stop doing what they're doing. But Jalen Ramsey is elite. Ray over on Facebook asked, Phillip, Lindsay, or Jonathan Taylor? This one, the team went with Jonathan Taylor, though this wasn't my personal preference. I actually chose Lindsay in this case just because I still think he's the best back in Denver, and I still think that there's a plan for him. And with the rookie running backs, especially with Jonathan Taylor specifically, he's got Marlon Mack there, and Marlon Mack is no slouch. He's a solid running back. Now, obviously, Taylor's better. Don't get me wrong. Jonathan Taylor's the better running back. But coming in, a rookie, splitting, I'm not sure, and the same goes for Lindsay. He's splitting with Gordon and Freeman and all that, but I think Phillip Lindsay, I've at least seen it enough, as if anybody who's watched the Monday show sees Craig, my boy Reith, say, I need to see it to believe it. Well, we need to see it. We need to see something out of Taylor, how they're going to use him in this offense. But the team chose Taylor. So if you're Ray, if you're listening, Taylor. Jason over on Facebook asked, Laviska Shenault or Chase Claypool? We chose Shenault. And it's an interesting conversation to have because really both of them are in very similar type situations where there's a lot of receivers around them and a lot of good receivers. You know, in Pittsburgh, Claypool is contending with Washington, Deontay Johnson, Juju. Shenault's got DJ Shark, D.D. Westbrook, Keelan Cole. I mean, he's got all sorts of different receivers. Chris Conley, who obviously Conley and DJ Shark are listed as the starters on their depth chart currently. So both guys are going to have limited opportunities, but we think Shenault's got a higher opportunity for success in week 1. Ryan over on Facebook asks, start 2. Bryan Edwards, Deebo, Kareem Hunt, or Antonio Gibson. The team chose Hunt and Gibson. Hunt, coming off that new 2-year extension, looks to be in a solid spot to be a producer. I mean, look at, obviously different team last year, coaching staff-wise, but look at how they used him. He was still fantasy relevant the weeks he played. He still got you solid points. And everybody's high on Antonio Gibson. You know, with everything that's happened there, AP gone and all the things, Gibson looks to be a very solid choice to get you production. Week 1, he's got a tougher matchup. You know, Philly's no slouch on the defensive line. They've got some studs. So it'll be an interesting matchup, but we think both those guys are going to be able to get you the best opportunity for success in week 1. Anthony over on Facebook, Monty or Cohen versus Detroit. So the team voted Cohen, but Monty was a full participant in practice. Now, obviously, the groin injury is something to be mindful of. But if you want the best opportunity for success in week 1, go with Cohen just because we know he's healthy and he's involved. He's always involved in the offense. They use him. I would just be cautious because Monty is back and should be able to play in week 1. And as the Detroit guy on the team, this defense, I need to see something out of them because right now I don't trust the run defense. I don't trust the pass defense. I mean, Trubisky somehow always plays well against Detroit, but Detroit likes to make mediocre quarterbacks look good. So that being said, Cohen. Connor over on Facebook, start 1, Gibson, Gordon, or Landry. So that's Antonio Gibson, Melvin Gordon, Jarvis Landry. We chose Jarvis Landry. Both of those other two, there's enough question marks. Landry is clearly probably the 2A option after Odell and before Austin Hooper. So go there. Joe over on Facebook, start 1 quarterback, Kyler Murray, Jared Goff. So Kyler Murray's going against San Fran. But last year he played well against San Fran. You know, Kyler Murray played well a lot last year. Jared Goff's going against Dallas. New scheme, a little bit new scheme. With the new coaching staff, we're going Kyler Murray here because he's got the ability to make the plays on the ground and through the air. He's got a new weapon, DeAndre Hopkins. He's got, just a lot of good things going on there, and we think that's going to give you a lot of success in week 1. Andrew over on Facebook asks, any non-CEH or Antonio Gibson rookies startable? There were a few choices here. Ultimately, we all chose either Cam Akers, Rams, because he's going to get a workload, Jonathan Taylor from the Colts, which you've obviously already heard my thoughts on that, and then Zach Moss from the Buffalo Bills. All talk there as things are looking up for Moss, and he could get significant playing time even early into the season. Deshaun Jackson or Devin Singletary in a half-point PPR. This literally was split down the middle. Half the team thought Jax, half the team went with Singletary. I chose the Singletary side because I think and I know how they've used him last year. This offense is the same, and I believe they're going to use him very similarly this year. He's going to get some good work. He's going to get some good points. I expect double-digit production this week. Deshaun Jackson, he's burned me enough times that I'm just kind of like, I don't own any shares anymore. I just let other people have that headache. AJ over on YouTube asks, who should I put in my flex, Thompson or Fournette? It's a full PPR. We went with Fournette. All signs point to him getting some good action week 1, and this should be a very high-powered game. Should be a fairly high-scoring game where Fournette should get some significant between the tackles action, where we're not really sure exactly how we feel about Thompson, how much they're going to use him in the passing game, how much they're going to throw to the running backs, things like that. Trevor over on YouTube asking, Antonio Gibson or Chris Thompson? Chris Thompson and Antonio Gibson were hot topics this week. We chose Gibson because clearly he's the most healthy, the most versatile, and probably the most successful running back in Washington this year. Chubb or Gurley, and then Deshaun Watson or Matt Ryan. Now, obviously, Deshaun Watson played last night. We would have chose Watson. Ryan is a more than capable QB1, though, this week as well against Seattle. He's a producer. He does a good job. He will be good this week for you if you didn't start Watson. We chose Gurley over Chubb, and it was more so just because there's not a lot to go against Gurley getting all the touches. I know they've got fine backups, but Gurley's the man there. Chubb is going to be splitting duties with Kareem Hunt, probably going to lose some of the catches. I mean, it's probably going to be a little bit more split. Gurley has the clear pathway to the most fantasy points in week 1. Gallup or Sutton is the question from Edgar over on YouTube. Sutton's hurt, and that pains me. That hurts me deep in my heart because Sutton is my boy. I am a huge Courtland Sutton fan. AC sprain. He's day-to-day, though, so he could be potentially playing. The team originally chose Sutton. Obviously, the injury report would probably lean us towards Gallup. And Gallup should still get you solid production. Now, obviously, he doesn't have the ceiling Courtland Sutton does. But if Cooper draws Ramsey most of the game, that means Gallup and CeeDee Lamb are going to, I'm not going to say feast, but they're going to have, lesser corner options to take on. And I think Gallup, we've seen, he's a 1,000-yard receiver. Even with CeeDee Lamb there, he's still going to be solid and a solid play in most cases. So check the injury report, definitely Saturday and into early Sunday morning before the lineups are set. See how Sutton's doing. I'm not feeling solid about this. He just got hurt. So I would probably do Gallup just to be safe, but Sutton would have been our choice. Edgar. Jeffrey over on Facebook. CEH or Miles Sanders? Obviously, CEH balled out. We chose CEH. Miles Sanders should still do well as well, but probably not CEH well. Wow. Eric on Facebook. Deshaun Jackson or Jamison Crowder? Unanimously, Jamison Crowder. We're more high on almost anyone than Deshaun Jackson. Jeffrey over on Facebook. He posted his entire team, said, who would you start? We picked Mahomes, Kamara, Raheem Mostert, Hollywood Brown, Calvin Ridley, Travis Kelce, and Shark. Obviously, he's probably already submitted Mahomes and Kelce. They balled out. And it was, and quite honestly, Jeffrey, your starting lineups kind of is what it is most weeks because you've got a solid roster. So kudos. Well done on your drafting, buddy. Again, if you guys have questions, get them in on our Facebook community, on our Discord community, on our YouTube community. We're talking. We're here to help. We're here to make your fantasy season successful. And we'll be back again next week with more start-sit questions.
Also, right there, playlist. Hit it. Watch the videos. Do it. You want to. Do it.